Hey, Monday fun day, and I've got a bunch of BS for you today. Hey everyone, so I just thought I would make a quick Monday video. I have a lot of little subjects to cover, and uh, mostly I actually find it interesting. It must be something about things that we post or that get trendy, because I always notice that when I have an idea and I think that I want to talk about it, that inevitably around that same time, other streams start talking in a similar fashion. Not the same info, but a similar sort of fashion. So, and just to get to the point here, I realize I'm babbling. I was thinking about feeling demotivated. To me, that happened because I had an incident on my bike that was not only did it hurt me physically, but emotionally, it was kind of a lot. And while it was hurting, I wasn't able to exercise the way I normally would. It was harder to sit at my desk all day. It was harder to just do things in general around the house. And the things that I could do were not as fun, uh, all that kind of stuff. It just kind of piled up. And then by the time I started feeling better, I was, well, quite frankly, tired of it all. And just it's been a struggle to get back on the horse. On top of that, we had like this glorious, beautiful weather here in Ohio last week, and of course I get hurt, so I didn't even enjoy the whole beautiful weather, and now we're back to being freezing, which also makes it hard to get back into things. But inevitably, I gave myself a tough talking to, and I got back onto my workouts and starting things up yesterday. I found that very quickly I was not still fully healed, but I was definitely further along the line and didn't have to be a complete lump, but I needed to change what I was doing and not just go out all the way like I had been. So finding a middle ground, that was a struggle. Which brings me full circle back to a while back when I talked to you about how when people say cardio doesn't matter and cardio is useless, and I told you they were wrong, that it does have its use. And then it led me to thinking about the fact that the very first live stream I did, we talked about being mobility restricted and how to get started with some very gentle chair exercises. And I know we want to get back to that eventually, but it leads me all to another topic, which is walking. Uh, we get a lot of feedback about that, and people talk about their fitness trackers, of which I have one, and making sure you walk your 10,000 steps a day or whatever your goal is. Maybe it's 5,000 steps, maybe it's 15,000 steps, wherever you're at. But sometimes, especially in the communities that I'm in, people start getting down on walking, like, psh, that doesn't do anything for you, and it's not strength training, and it's not this, and it's not that, and the only way you're going to do it is if you do this big old muscly weightlifting workout and some CrossFit, and until, your whole body is quaking and you feel sick to your stomach. No, that's crazy talk. Um, Walking has benefits. And if you are new to changing your lifestyle and you're just looking to get a little bit of fitness going and you don't know where to start, and literally everything you try to do is just plain and simple too much and you can't do it, two things you can do is find yourself a fitness coach who works with mobility limited persons. And that's a special kind of fitness coach because they've had different training and they can work with you. Uh, so start with that. There are programs that work with that, and one of them would be DDPY, which is starts out with a mobility limited altered type of yoga. So those are, so that's if you don't get yourself a private trainer or something like that, get a consult, things like that. But also, uh, don't let that beat you down when people tell you that cardio doesn't matter, or cardio doesn't help you, or walking won't do anything for you. It's absolutely a way to start if you haven't done exercise in years, decades, ever. Uh, and that doesn't mean that you have to be obese to be in that situation. Maybe you were ill. Maybe it just wasn't something you were into. Um, I'll tell you, even when I was pretty fit, I was not into anything remotely athletic when I was very young, because I was definitely your 100% in the awkward nerd category. So, video games, board games, tabletop games, uh, hissing if the sun got in my eyes too much, because I just, it wasn't something that I did a lot of. Went outside when I had to, which meant, usually a hunting with the family. And it was hard because I wasn't in any sort of shape to do that because I didn't do any exercise. So we've had that talk about cardio. It's in a few videos back. Uh, Maybe I'll get ambitious and remember to update the description like I'm supposed to. Maybe not. But if not, well, I'll track it down. I'll make it a goal that even if when I get this posted, if it's not there, I'll add it in later. But let's talk about that. Let's talk about walking and things it can do and things it can't do. So, if you're not a fit person, walking's a great place to start, because a lot of things that prevent people from exercising is our body pains, especially if you get that kind of pain like that's in your back or your hips or along your spine, or soreness up top in your shoulders. Walking begins to strengthen the muscles that support your spine. So it actually is a type of strength training, not in the same traditional fashion that we think of, but it does actually work your core, your trunk, which is that part. I know you can't see my hands because I'm sitting in my office chair, but your core and your lumbar, which is that lower part of your back, and all of those muscles need that. And so if you can't walk a lot because your knees hurt or whatever, start out gentle. I mentioned in my origin story, which is the video that auto plays at the start of my channel. I don't know if it's maybe time to make a new something for that, but we'll get there in time. But I mentioned that I was not a fit person like I am now. I couldn't even walk to the corner. And that was my first goal. Walk from my house to the corner with 3 houses. 1, 2, 3. That was my goal. And guess what? I did it. It took me a little bit, but I did it. And then my next goal was to get to the park, which would have been 3 houses across the street and 3 more houses. And that was the park where I could take my kid and finally I could sit on the bench and watch them play. So think about what your needs are and work with someone who can help you with those goals. Um, I'm not big on trying to make sales, so I'm not going to tell you that you can contact me and I'll, sell you my time, because I'm not certified yet. I am going to school for it. But if you send me a message and ask for my advice, I will give you my unsolicited advice. I will give you my 2 cents worth of advice with no fees or charge, just as a friend. But know that I am not yet any certified kind of anything. And all of my advice is just the research that I've had so far from my schooling and from my personal experience as being a cancer patient, someone with a seizure disorder, and someone who has managed to accidentally, due to the treatment of my seizures and cancer, lose over 120 pounds. It took a long time to embrace fitness items. So, but that walking was a first start, and it helps with everything. When people tell you it's not important, it's absolutely important. When you walk, it increases the health of your muscles, and you need that. And yes, if you're walking slow, that's what it's going to be when you first start out. And over time, you get a little bit more experience and you're moving along a little faster. So, yes, it does help with your cardiovascular as well, which you need because you need to open your blood vessels. You need to help your heart health. You need to open up your lungs so that you can breathe better. Those are all things that have to happen before you can start a strength training regimen. So, or regime, however you prefer to say it. Don't get on me. I don't want to see all those comments making fun of how I talk. So, but so you have to start somewhere. There has to be a starting point. So, and that starting point can't be what people do 3 years down the line. You can't go from 0 to 25 overnight. You have to start down below at 1 or 2 and work your way up. So that's one of the things. If you are not conditioned, you need to worry about the overall mass of your muscles. You have to get to a point where you don't have muscular weakness or fatigue or pain, and you can. I tell you, I did have pain walking 3 houses down to the corner. It might sound stupid to so many people, but it was not a good feeling. And it was definitely not a good feeling when I realized that I couldn't get back the 3 houses to my house because I had to rest. So I don't like to see negativity about such things. So the other thing, I just sort of touched on it a little bit. Walking increases blood flow. Your decreased physical activity or not having done a lot of physical activity before causes the small blood vessels of your spine to become constricted. You can hear that I'm talking a lot about the spine and the lower back. It reduces blood flow to your spinal muscles, which is why we said walking is going to help strengthen those, which in turn is going to open up your blood vessels and increase the supply of oxygen to them. So again, this full circle. So it's going to be tough at first, but it gets easier, and it gets easier relatively quickly. So you might be surprised. Don't go crazy and do too much all at once and then set yourself back. The other thing is I lost place. A lot of things all come together that help with the strength and integrity of your back, and you're going to need that so hard. The other piece that walking does is it helps increase the flexibility in your lower back. So we've talked about your core strength and your trunk and increasing the blood flow and circulation so that things aren't as constricted, which then makes you more flexible. So because if you haven't been moving around, everything is all stiff and tight, and that puts pressure on your lumbar, again, right there, and your sciatic. So that's going to alter the curve of your back, and that leads down to your hips and the front of your thighs, and then, of course, your knees, which, people always talk about their knees. And so all of those things, too. Walking increases your flexibility. It stretches your muscles. I think I just said that. Also, the ligaments in your back, and also in your legs and your butt. And hey, everybody wants a good butt, right? So get walking. So when you walk, it also works your hamstrings, which is a part in your leg, and a part of the muscles in your spine called the erector muscles and your hip flexor muscles. That's why when you walk, you might be surprised that your hips, right where they meet your thighs, get a little sore when you first start out. but it will help increase your range of motion. And that's, how where your joints move and can't move and etc. All of that. So it's good stuff. And when people poo-poo it like, walking is not all that for you, yes, it is. If you are new to being fit, you can't just run in and do 20 burpees. It's just not going to happen. And if you do, you're going to hurt yourself. So take it back. And guess what? You can absolutely do it. And uh, even just walk around in your house a little bit. Go up and down your stairs if you have stairs. If not, do some back and forth motion. Now, it's not going to be very effective very long if you're just slowly pacing back and forth in your house. It's just not. And you'll need to step it up a notch. But guess what? Search on YouTube. There's like 9 million walking workouts. And they are quite intense, even if they're just little. But start with the ones that are like 500 steps in 10 minutes or, things like that. And work it up and enjoy it for a little while. Now, if you have very crunchy knees and other issues, I'm going to tell you, take your walking to the water. Get yourself a membership at a community center and use the pool and walk in the pool. It actually is, even while it's easier on your joints, you're going to find you might not be able to do as much because the water does add resistance. It takes the pressure and ease off of your joints, but it does increase resistance, and therefore you are actually starting an increase in your strength training all at once. But you can do it. I did it, and so can you. So definitely, let's ask me some questions, dump stuff into the comments, and let's really dive in there and see what we can do to help you get motivated. You want me to do some walking with you? You bet that I would absolutely set up and do a Zoom and chat with you while we go for a quick walk around the neighborhood. I might whine about it right now because it's like 18 degrees Fahrenheit outside, and I don't want to be outside right now. I'll try not to, even if I have to. But if I had to and it helped motivate you, I would probably do it anyways. But the whining you're going to experience, you'll have to think about whether it's really worth it or not. But 100%, you can do it. And when we feel demotivated, though, it is so hard to get started. You know you can do it. And even if you're not 100% sure you can do it, you can try, but you're demotivated. And do you really want to? The answer is no. And you really just have to give yourself some tough love and reach out to someone to say, I'm struggling with getting myself to do this. And let those people know that you're reaching out to, that you need that uplift to help you. Because once you get started, you'll want to do it more regularly. Maybe not right away, but eventually you'll do it. And like I said, being injured, I was experiencing demotivation. And if anybody tells you they don't ever get demotivated because they love exercise so much, or they love art so much, or they love doing XYZ so much, they are not being truthful with you, but they may also just be not being truthful with themselves. Every person experiences demotivation at times. They just don't realize the things that they have developed over time to force themselves through it, to slog through it. Everybody has that day when you are just laying in bed going, do I got to get up? What if I just take the day off and I lay here in bed? You know you can't do it, and you might lay there an extra 5 minutes or so, but eventually you toss your covers off and you get out of bed and you do what you got to do. It's not an easy thing to do. I don't have good ways to do it, but find your own way. I will tell you that while I was feeling resistant to myself, what I actually did was I just stepped out of my comfort zone of my bike riding, because I knew that with having slammed my arm and my leg against the fence, that hopping right into my bike and really going for it in the ride, I knew that it was possibly going to harm me more, even though I wanted to do it. So I rested up, and then when I got back into it, I knew immediately when I got on my bike and I did a ride and I heard that little twinge in my knee, I was like, nope. And I got off my bike and I was kind of grumbled, and I was again back down to well, screw it. But instead, I looked up some other workouts and I hopped right in. And about 10 minutes into it, it was getting better. And I was really pleased about that. So, and I felt better and wanted to do more. So, go for it. I will tell you one thing that helps me, uh, aside of all of the just forcing myself, one thing that helps me is doing something that puts me in a good mood. And that is turning on like my favorite songs and turning it up with my little earbuds so I'm not disturbing other people in the house and just kind of dancing around a little bit. There are some songs where it just gets you going and you jump around and then uh, your mood is uplifted. So, whatever does that for you that helps uplift your mood, do it. I actually think music is a positive motivator for many people. You just have to find your genre. So, that is what I have today. Do some walking. We'll go for some walks during the spring. I'll take you to the lakes here. And when the roses bloom, I'm going to take you all to that park of roses. It's so gorgeous. And I think I cannot wait to share it with you. So I'll see you guys soon. I'll see you on Wednesday. On Wednesday, cross your fingers. I'm almost there on a recipe, but they're still a little weird texturally. So I don't know if it's going to make it or not. We might have to wing it and do something else, but I'm hoping that I got it with my next iteration tomorrow so that I can record it and release it on Wednesday. I'm excited for it if I can just get it to work. I'm so close. All right. I will talk to you guys again on Wednesday. And of course, I'll see you on like 9 million live streams and other places. Feel free to reach out and talk to me. Put your questions in the comment. Let me know other things that you want to see or hear. All of that fun stuff. And I will talk to you soon. If you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Then hit the little bell icon so you get notified every time I upload or go live. And I'll see you again on Wednesday. Bye bye.